Okay, so once more, good evening. We are about to begin for Leader as Coach, Performance Coaching for Skill Leaders. Yep. I would like to say thank you also to our friends in Cagayan State University. To our good evening to our friends in Irist College of Engineering Student Government. Okay. Good evening to our friends in Mechani Web. To our friends in PSME Paranaque Chapter. Okay, to Tarlac State University, good evening to you all, and to University of Mindanao, Tagum College. Also to our Wacom users community. Okay, so joining me this evening is our resident psychologist. I'd like you all to say hi and good evening to Miss Charlene Lucas.
Hi, Jo Mark. Talagang di na naalis yung resident psychologist, no? Okay, thank you very much for inviting me again to be your partner. Okay, and I was so interested, or I would say para bang when I saw the topic, talagang okay game kasi I want to learn from Coach Anda in terms of woman empowerment. Not only just being a leader, but na-catch talaga ako dun sa woman empowerment na yon. So hopefully, no, we learn a lot. Of course, we will learn a lot to Coach Anda, right? Tonight.
Ayan, so baka nagtataka po, maybe some of you are wondering anong kinalaman ng engineering sa leadership and coaching. Of course, definitely may kinalaman po, no? And some of our future or existing engineers, architects, 'di ba? Definitely if you want to level up your career, napakahalaga po yung pagiging leader, and leader not only as a leader but as a good coach. And Miss Cha, you're also a coach, right?
Yes,
Tama ba?
but in more of work related stuff, no? And but I'm focusing right now on mental health po. So yun. Coaching in life,
Ayan.
paano
Oo.
makipag-break sa abusive boyfriend, mga ganun.
Everyone is wondering pala, no, your absence for ilang buwan din ba yun? Isang sem din ba yun?
Parang 6 months, January, we begin January yung
Ano?
pinakahuli natin, no? New Year,
Oo. What have you been up to?
studies, no? Gusto ko sana boyfriend, kaya lang wala eh. Studies lang.
Ah, masters or PhD daw, ma'am?
Ay, sorry, nawala. Ay, anong nangyari? PhD po, clinical psychology. Yes. So, mas
Wow.
lalong din kaka-boyfriend, no?
Hindi, ma'am. Marami tayong experience na ganyan na nag-masters tapos may natagpuan. Sana sa PhD nyo.
Sana meron.
may mata-
Papakoach ako kay Coach Anda.
Ayan, so good evening to Sir Tristan Joel. Okay, to of course to Ma'am Virginia. Without Miss V's guidance, vision,
Wow.
and the inspiration that we're getting from her, 'di ba? This would not be
Yes.
possible as well. So ayan, glad to hear to see Miss Virginia on nandiyan on board.
Hi, Miss
Okay,
V.
so ayan. Okay, so definitely we're about to learn so much. So again, this is not a conversation between the three of us, Joe, Mark, Charlene, and Miss Coach. We want everyone to participate by commenting down, diba? Commenting your thoughts, asking questions, and yeah, let's make the most of this evening and learn so much together with the coach and okay. So yep, I'm going to add Coach Anda now. Coach Anda, good evening.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Good to be here, and thank you for inviting me today, Jomar.
Hi,
Ayan,
Coach.
Berlin
so
as well.
mm, this is my first time to have seen and to have talked to Coach Anda, sadly through computer monitor, no?
One day
So
we can meet each other, Jomar, in
ayan,
person.
so yep. we wanted things to be raw po, no? To be raw and authentic as much as possible. So what you're hearing and seeing now are all coming out initially from our thoughts. So ayan. So Miss Cha, have you met Coach already, or do you two know each other already?
No, this is the first time I'm
Yes,
meeting her.
yes,
Yeah.
not yet. But when I saw her profile and yung topic, talagang game kasi woman empowerment. So, by the way, coach mo, I'm not necessarily coaching, but I'm healing women who are victim of abuse. So,
Oh,
and
okay.
I empower them as well. So when I saw your woman empowerment, not only just by being a leader, but as a woman, no, in as a woman leader in the corporate. So I was really captivated on that. So game ako, John Mark. I want to hear. I want to learn.
Yeah, and of course, again, thank you so much to Miss Virginia. This is again the power of connections in LinkedIn. So parang through Miss Virginia, I get to meet Coach Anda and Sir Bernie. So again, to our ayan, no, students, kasi Coach Ada, we bring students, we inspire students to LinkedIn, to show them the value of LinkedIn. So what I'm just saying here is, of course, the power of connections through Miss Virginia, diba? We get to be able to learn more, diba? And to meet Coach and ayan. So ano ba mga to warm things up? Do you have any questions, Miss Cha, to Miss Coach?
Uh, Coach, para kanina. Paano ba magka-boyfriend? Joke. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. How first question kasi women empowerment po, no? And at the same time, Women's Mental Health Month, May, and
Oh,
Philippine Independence on June.
wow.
So independent women, no? Tagang kinonect, no? So, coach, as one of let's say coach or you coach leaders, especially women, ano po yung maipapayo niyo sa mga babae that they are, let's say, not that confident to take on that leadership role? Yun. So, para ba they cannot compete with men? Yung ganun po. What would be your advice, coach?
Well, I think number one is not to compete with men, right? So I think you need to be focusing on your own strengths, who you are as a person, and that's going to make you stand out and shine. Because if you start comparing yourself, and there are differences between men and women, and there are strengths that women have that men don't have, and men have strengths that women don't have. So for me, is to be your own person, to know what your values are, to know the direction that you want to take, or what you want from yourself or for yourself, and that's the only thing that's going to make you happy. I think focusing on that is going to really sort of like create the impact that you want to have to the people around you. I think it's just that's so important. Focusing first on who you are as a person, and the direction that you want to take for yourself.
Wow, umpisa pa lang.
Ayan.
Parang gusto ko ng tubig. Thank you, coach. Amazing.
Ako din, Miss Cha, no, I'm actually surrounded by women. So I'm a proud ano, no. I'm proud to say that I'm a mama's boy, no. I'm a mama's boy, and I have two daughters. So puro babae po sa household namin. So yep, and I do believe, yeah, no, having two daughters. So of course, critical din 'yan for them na not to be overwhelmed, 'di ba? Not to be competing, tama, no, in the man's world. So would you mind sharing to us, coach, how you started out in your career, how you ended up as a coach?
So I started over a decade ago, so back in 2010. But before that, I was a marketing strategist, I was in sales, and I was also in HR for a long time. And then there was a point in my life where I realized that, I was able to develop products for people, sell products in sales and marketing, and then HR also do some training. But I wanted a more personal interaction with people. And I realized that as I searched more about that, and for those there who are looking also what is the right career for them, or what to focus on, or what specialization, I think it's a journey where you have to be very observant on what your strengths are and what you're drawn to. And I realized that coaching was it for me because it really focused on the development of an individual. In the beginning, in the first year, I did life coaching, but it was okay, but it didn't give me that excitement and joy. So I decided to try out executive coaching, which is coaching for leaders. And for me, that was more exciting for me because I think I was more used to um, working in a corporate environment. And so, in that whole discovery process, I'm still discovering a lot about myself until now. That I'm able to help leaders or my clients master and uncover their blind spots. Diba marami tayong mga blind spots. There are things that we don't know that is hindering us from really achieving the person that we need to be, that we can be actually. And so I like helping people that because I think that's also my story and my journey as well. How I was able to uncover and find out my blind spots and how I was able to get over that to be where I am today. So I help a lot of leaders do that, and hoping that this short course today will also help you help others uncover their blind spots. So it's really all about, that's why I love this profession. It's about helping one another, not just at the workplace, but outside work as well.
So, ayun. So, also, how you're into coaching training, did the pandemic affected you, or was the pandemic more of a blessing?
In the first few months, it did affect me. So when March happened, and of course, the whole world was a shock, diba? So my clients who were supposed to come in, so a lot of them stopped for a while. But then they also started coming back in June. And I think coaching as a profession is now needed more than ever. People are realizing that the importance of people development, especially in the field of coaching that I work, executive coaching, because I work for organizations. And sometimes, or a lot of times before the pandemic, it was all focused on the targets, the goals, not really focusing on the people strategy or people as its greatest resource. So right now, there has been a big shift from the pandemic. More people are really looking at people development, seeing that really taking and finding ways to care about their people. And I think when you're able to do that, in connection to my topic today, if you're able to coach them, if you're able to bring out that potential, it can really help you achieve your goals and actually achieve even so much more. And so that's my mission, I think, as a coach also. And that's why I'm passionate about doing the things that I do, because I believe in creating an environment where people care for one another, that it's not just about the numbers, it's about the people behind that. We're not robots. And to just bring that humanity back in the workplace.
Leadership, Miss Cha and Miss Coach Anda, is ano, 'di ba? Is not innate, 'di ba? It is also developed. Tama, 'di ba?
Yeah, some people have those leadership strengths. It can be innate, but some people it also can be developed. But there are also people now who choose to be individual contributors and not leaders, and that's okay also. That's why I always say that, try to discover yourself. Don't compete with anyone. Try to see what
Mm.
your own path. Try to see what makes you happy. Because at the end of this life, we really are asking ourselves, who are we becoming? Who are who are the people that we want to become at the end of this life? So making the right choices every single day is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Honestly, coach, no, I love yung last na binanggit mo kanina. Hindi ko lang na-open yung mic ko, but that's so powerful, that bringing humanity back, no,
Mm.
sa office, no,
Oo.
instead of being a robot just by the numbers. So yun yung nawawala ko. That's why many people right now, including my clients, are burned out po. And then at the same time, parang they don't have any more time or any relations with the people around them because pagod na po sila.
Yeah.
Because they're pushed by the numbers po.
Yeah. So I like what you're also saying, Charlene. So to add to that also, I think what's important is that not just taking care of others, but taking care of ourselves, especially during this time where the environment is ever changing. Tapos sometimes we like to problem solve, or we don't admit to ourselves that we're having a hard time, or emotionally we're going through a lot of things. If you don't admit that, I like the saying, what you resist persists. So the more you fight it, the more you don't acknowledge where you are or what you're feeling or what you're going through, um, makes you more overwhelmed. So I think it's important to also take care of others, but also to really take care of yourself. So for me, I believe as a leader, or if even if you're not a leader doing self leadership, you first have to take care of yourself, know where you are, know where you're operating from, and then you can take care of others.
Ayan, so if you have some slides to share, Coach, yep, you may share your slides.
Okay.
Ayan, so once more, good evening, everyone. Let's make this conversational as well. So feel free to comment down your thoughts, ask questions. Okay, so yep. In addition, good evening to Sudarat Ratanasaeng. Sorry if I butchered your name. Good evening, Sudarat. For thanks for joining us. Yeah, Miss Remy Bakani Timbol. Good evening. Ayan. Also to Sir Tristan Joel. Ayan. Good evening to you as well. Okay. In addition, we are also live. Not only in LinkedIn, Facebook, we are also live in Twitch.
Wow, ang
Ayan.
dami
So
ng
hindi
ano,
hindi tayo
coverage.
gamer
So,
ha. We're not
proud
gamers,
of
but
you.
we're trying to influence the young ones na ayan, the importance of leadership. So that's why I don't know if someone's watching us in Twitch, but if there is, good evening to you and happy gaming. I guess. Okay. Adding coach slides now. Yeah, we're seeing your slides now, Coach Anda.
Okay, good. So, okay, let me start by saying that my topic today is leader as coach. But even if you're not a leader yet, right? Let's say if you're a student, or you're an individual contributor wanting to be a leader, you can be your own. You can be a leader wherever you are. And being a leader is all about, like I said earlier, being aware of what's important for you, knowing your values, knowing your direction, and really intentionally thinking about the impact that you want to create. And when we think about the impact that we want to create in this world, we think about not just ourselves, but about people. So if you're, like I said, if you're not leading a team or you're not leading anyone, it's important to be able to think about how do I make that impact to everyone that I meet. So leader as coach talks about not just making the impact in the workplace, but also outside work as well, with your friends, with your family, your loved ones, and how do you create those better conversations that create openness, communication, trust, right? So these are all the values that were brought up by the pandemic again. For me, ito yung mga good things na nangyari sa pandemic because it brought out these values of connection, of trust, of communication, of collaboration. Ito yung mga important eh. And this is really our focus for today. So just to show you yung presentation for today, we're going to be talking about what is coaching, because a lot of people get mixed up with coaching, mentoring, counseling, so just to help you understand what is really the difference between coaching, especially coaching and mentoring. And then the second topic is uncovering the iceberg. And then I'm going to talk about the coaching process. The fourth one is active listening. And the last part is accountability to action. Okay, so just a little bit about myself, although I said that already before. I've been doing this business for the past 10 years. I really love what I do because I'm able to see the impact of helping others. And so what I do is I take successful leaders to the next level by helping them uncover and master their blind spots. So I not only do coaching, I also do training as well. And so the program that I'm going to share with you today, this is actually a preview to a 2 full day program course that's happening at the end of June. If you want to attend it, and if you want to see the full blown program where you can really practice and learn the skills, sign up for the program after this. So I have that, and yeah, so what I really do is I do workshops as well. So workshops helping teams and helping leaders. And I've been doing this for so long, but it just feels like it's time went by so fast because I really love what I do. Yeah. So
Coach Ada, excuse you may want to go full screen.
okay.
We're seeing the ano, the
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, let me just fix it there.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Um. Okay. All right. So, what is coaching? What really is coaching? And I want to ask everyone out there, if you think about coaching, what do you think is coaching? And when I asked this question, a long time ago when I started coaching, there were just a few of us, not executive coaches, and they thought that coaching was a counseling, but it's also very different. So they also thought that coaching is mentoring, and until now, people think that coaching is like mentoring, but there's a big difference. So when you look at what coaching is about asking, listening, enhancing awareness, and really, I love the last part. If you look at the in purple sa taas, it says know nothing. So it assumes that you don't know anything, and that the power of coaching really lies with the person that you're talking to. The answers are in every client that you talk to, or every what I call it client, but in any team member or any person that you talk to in a coaching conversation. This was difficult for me to learn sa beginning kasi di ba sanay tayo we're very used to telling people what to do. And or we're very used to giving people advice. But there's true power in just listening and sort of like asking the right questions para the person that you're talking to can realize what they need to do and where they're stuck. And so when you're able to do that, they have more accountability because they're the ones discovering it on their own. And there's a lot of empowerment there because they realize that they have the answers all along. So it's very different from mentoring because as a mentor, you know a lot. So you're directing, you're telling people what to do, you're advising them, you're sharing your experience. And most of the time in organizations, when I run this workshop, people are doing mentoring like 90% of the time, which shouldn't be the case. It should be really a mix of you're directing. There are times that you're directing, telling people what to do, giving advice. But there also should be a part where you should be coaching. You should give the empowerment to the people that you're talking to. You should help them have accountability for their action because that's where true change happens. Pag binigay mo yung accountability sa kanila. So it's important to be able to just recognize when you need to do that, when you need to do coaching, and when you need to do mentoring. For me, coaching is used in many ways. It's for when you're doing performance evaluation, when you're doing career coaching as well, when you really want the person to change behaviors. The best way to do it is through a coaching conversation, not telling someone what to do. Okay. And so I want to give you this image of a driver and a passenger. And if you can just type in the chat box, who do you think the coach is? Is the coach the driver or the passenger? And so, Jomar, maybe you can read to me what people are saying.
Someone mentioned to him coaching is develop others, upbringing the potential in others.
Bring the potential in others. Okay, good. Good. Yeah, that's really what it is. Bring out the potential in others. So I have an important question here. Like, who do you think is the coach here? Do you think the coach is the driver, or do you think the coach is the passenger
For
of the
me, I
car?
think coach, it's the passenger.
The passenger. Why do you think it's the passenger?
When you say coach, it's like not necessarily teaching, but telling the driver, "Oh, this is the best way to go," something like that. Parang ano ba tawag dito? Parang driving school. That's what I think. Parang driving school.
Parang driving school. Yeah. So the power or the direction is really with the driver, diba? And the driver is the person that you're coaching. And the coach in the background is more of guiding and not really telling them what to do, but more of like just pointing out things like, oh, do you see this? Do you see that? But when, as a passenger does it, but still the driver will be the one to control the wheel. So it's important to be able to just ask questions to help the driver or the coachee think about where he wants to go, what he wants to do, what decisions he's going to take. So the deeper the questions, the more impactful the questions, the deeper the insights, then the more change really happens when you're able to do that. I want to show you about, you've probably seen this, and it's so many people have been talking about this during the pandemic if you've attended resilience talks. But I wanted to show you the power of coaching, because from a fixed mindset, what coaching does, it brings you to a growth mindset. And growth mindset is when you can really develop your abilities. You have challenges that help you grow. Feedback is constructive. Effort is necessary. So with growth mindset, you're more open to challenges, open to changes. You're more open to feedback. You're willing to grow. And that's what coaching can do. It can create really like wonderful conversations among each other. I always like to think that, imagine if there was a world where we were all using coaching conversations. I think there was going to be more respect for one another. There's more listening. There's more patience. There's more trust versus judging people. So a lot of times, because when we're not coaching, we're kind of judging, or we're not listening. You know, we're thinking about ourselves. But then we're not. No man is an island. So we're not alone, and we have people around us who are with us, right? So again, moving into a growth mindset in coaching. That's what the results of coaching, to move it into to move the conversation, or to move your thinking into a growth mindset. So fixed mindset kasi is, I can't do it. I'll stick to what I know. I don't like receiving feedback. If I'm frustrated, I give up. So the power of having a coach as an accountability partner helps people see that there is room for growth, and being comfortable with things is okay, because maybe that's the area for growth, and that's how we can help others grow as individuals. Okay, so I want to show you this iceberg. And when you see the tip of the iceberg, you just see the tip. But when you look at the bottom of the iceberg, there's so many things happening at the bottom of the iceberg. I want to share you the power of coaching through a story. So recently, I was coaching someone, and that person I was coaching was saying that, yeah, I'm overwhelmed with work and I can't concentrate. I used to be so good in what I did, and I don't know, I just can't function the same way anymore. And so that's a tip. That's a tip only of the iceberg. And then I started digging deeper by asking more questions, and I was saying, where do you think this is coming from? And what do you think what do you think is causing you to do that? Or is asking questions like, in situations where this happened before, where so many things are happening at the same time, what is your usual belief? And what we did was, as we got into the deeper story, and that's like the whole iceberg, is that ano pala siya, he's a perfectionist, and he wants to be able to please other people all the time. And so instead of doing the projects that he's supposed to do, what he was doing was, he was like in an hour that he's dedicated it to really finishing a project na kailangan niyang gawin for work. He's answering emails, he's answering the phone, he's talking to different people instead of focusing what he's supposed to do. And he was saying, kasi I feel guilty if I don't answer everyone. And he really wanted to answer everyone. And he's feeling like very responsible for it. And as he started digging deeper, nalaman niya na it's connected to how he was growing up. That he was the eldest, and he was always given that responsibility. And what I want to tell you is that these beliefs that we've carried on, even from childhood, a lot of them are okay, but a lot of them also are not true. Let's say responsibility as a belief, or as a strength, or as a value, can also have its downside. Because when you feel like you're responsible, like, I want to take all the responsibility, sige, kaya ko yan, I can do everything. But it's inhumanly possible. You cannot do everything. And it's probably the pressure that's given to you by your parents, asking you that. So because we were younger and we're not able to filter things. And maybe not even when we were young. No, it could be all. It also could happen when we started working and experiencing things. And because we're not able to filter properly, our definition of certain things are different. So and are not maybe even helping us. So na realized niya that my client realized that the way that he saw responsibility was not helping him at all, because he felt that I'm responsible for everything, I have to do it, and that it was not even making him effective anymore. So he had to change the story in his head, and what he did was, once he realized that that was the cause, he started coming up with next steps that were going to help him, and he started changing the way he was doing things. And a common question I like to ask in coaching is, what can you do differently? If you're doing this before and it wasn't helping you, what can you do differently? And he realized that what he could do differently is that maybe he should just really choose who he should talk to, and who are the really important people that he should talk to. And he should really also change his definition of responsibility. And being responsible is being efficient also in what he was doing. And realizing that if he took in everything in that 1 hour, then he wouldn't even be responsible, he wouldn't even be efficient, wouldn't even get to the outcome that he wanted. So there was a lot of things going on there. So you could see that if I just focus on overwhelm, on the part that he's overwhelmed, that's not the complete story. So as a coach, if you're talking to someone, like let's say in the office or even at home, to a brother, sister, even if you have kids, you can use this as well, or your husband, your wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. It's a great conversation because it always answers the question, what's the story behind that? If I see this in the at the topmost, what you see, there's so much more to what you see. So remember that. That's one of the big takeaways I want you to remember, that every person has a story. Every person has like a story behind everything that he or she does. And it's important as a coach to be able to get to that story. Okay. So now we're going to go to the power of active listening and powerful questions. And in coaching, so I'm credentialed with ICF, International Coach Federation, which is based in the US. And there are many different coaching competencies, but one of my favorites really is active listening and powerful questions. So let me talk a little bit about that. Stephen Covey said that most people do not listen with intent to understand. They listen with intent to reply. Again, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. And that's very interesting, because in a meeting or in a conversation, we always focus on our agenda only, what we want, and not realizing that there's a person in front of us who's maybe processing things a different way or interpreting things a different way. So if we go into the conversation just thinking about, this is what I want, this is what I think is important for me, and me only, it's not going to be a conversation. And the person that you're talking to is going to be feeling frustrated, might feel like I'm not being heard, I'm not given importance, they're not collaborating with me. So, and this happens in a lot of books or articles written on difficult conversations. They talk about that. They talk about that sometimes, or a lot of times, like you go into a meeting just coming from one side, but there's not one side. There are many people in the conversation in a meeting, or if you're talking with another person, there's another person there in front of you who's very different from you. I think the misconception is also that we think that the person in front of us is exactly like us, or we think we can mind read the person in front of us. That's not true. We cannot read anyone, even if someone's your best friend or your parents who've been living with you for a long time. You cannot read them. So the only way to be able to read them is to ask powerful questions, to understand where they're coming from, to know what's the story behind everything, to be able to really know what it is where it is they're coming from, and how can you help them. So again, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. So why is it so hard to focus in in conversations. So I came up with a list of things based on my experience, also my own personal experience and my experience with my clients. So you are focused on what you want. You're not focused on what the other person wants, but you're focused on what you want only. Like I said, you're forgetting that there's someone else in front of you who's very different from you, who has different beliefs, different values, different family, different experience. So they're interpreting things in a different way. I want to give you an example in another workshop that I do on values. If we were like in a live workshop, I'd call on people on courage and say, call 3 different people to define courage. And every single time that I run that workshop and I give a value like courage, the definition of courage is different for those 3 different people. See, so that's when I say that even the simplest of terms can mean differently for different people. So you have to be able to be careful of that. So you know the Filipino saying, maraming namamatay sa akala. So you cannot live on assumptions because assumptions is going to kill you. So you have to be able to really find out what are the facts of this story and what are the facts behind this person that I'm talking to. So another one is, akala or assumptions is biases and judgments. So you have biases and judgments. You also, maybe as you're talking to the person, you remember your own challenges. So you become distracted in the conversation. You're not paying attention to the person who's talking anymore. And then maybe you're thinking of multiple things at the same time. You're not fully present. So I want you to think about this question. What does it take to be fully present? What will it take for you to be fully present? Especially during this time of disruption, there's so many things that's happening. How can I be fully present to the person I'm talking to? How can I be fully present for my team? How can I be fully present for my husband? How can I be fully present to my mom, to my dad, to my kids, to my friends? In this moment that we're together, how can I stay fully present? So, like I said, there's many multiple things that are happening, but what you need to do is just focus and have intention that I'm just going to be fully present. I'm going to listen to the person that I'm talking to. So it has to start with intention. Without intention, then you're going to be distracted. So another one is your schedule is busy and there's no time to think. So it's like pack. So many things happening, one after the other. 8 to 9, you have something 9 to 10, 10 to 11, it's like hopping from one meeting to another. And it's so hard to stay fully present because you're thinking about the previous meeting. So what you need to do, my tip is, before going into a conversation, is to maybe just pause for 5 minutes or like a few minutes and just kind of like tell yourself, in this conversation, I'm going to be fully present and I'm going to focus on what the other person is saying. So you have to be very intentional, especially in this world that's full of disruptions. Okay. So there are techniques for active listening. For active listening, you can, when you're listening, especially during a coaching conversation, you can bracket. So you can set aside your immediate reaction and judgment. So as you're judging, it's easy because as you listen to the person, you can judge them already for what they're saying. So set aside your judgment and bracket. Put them in a bucket, put them in a box, set them aside first. Reflect. So another technique for active listening is reflect. So this is very powerful. Let me tell you another story about my client. So she was seen as someone who was not listening in every meeting. She was very strong. She was just saying what she wanted. So I taught her a technique. So even if you don't agree with the person that you're talking to, just repeat what they're saying like this. Parang like you can say, oh, so you said this and this and this. So you're like summarizing what they're saying and they already felt heard. Because the basic need of individuals is to be heard, is to be acknowledged. So remembering that this is their basic need, you want to be able to give them that in a conversation. So it's interesting because when my client started changing and when she started really communicating better, the people around her, so I talked to her team or her peers also, they were saying, oh, what did you do? She's different. She's listening more. And then when I went to my client and I asked her, are you listening more? And she said, No, I'm actually, well, yes, I'm listening more, but I'm not agreeing to what they're saying. Actually, there's a lot of things I wasn't agreeing, but I was acknowledging a lot. I was acknowledging, but I didn't have to agree all the time. And so that technique actually made the other party think that she was agreeing with them, she was listening, but when actually, in actuality, and she wasn't really agreeing with what they were saying. But see, it's the way we're conversing, it's the way we're using our words, it's the way we're coming through to the people that we're talking to. So be careful of your words, be careful even of the expression in your face. So some people have this, you put your one eyebrow up, I can't do that, or you're frowning. So as you listen to the person that you're talking to, so some people can feel like they're already being judged. So be careful with your facial expressions, be careful with your tone of voice, be careful of the words that you use as you talk to the person that you're talking to, because it can be misinterpreted. And paraphrase, yeah, summarize and state the key points. I kind of mentioned that. It's kind of connected to reflection. And then you need to also be able to check discrepancies. So if you're really actively listening, you can see there are times that they're saying, you're asking them like, oh, so what do you think of this? Do you think that this action step is okay with you? And then they say, yeah, it's okay. So does that sound like they're really okay? It's not. So when there are discrepancies like that, it's good to call them out. It's good to, because if you don't call them out, then there's more confusion. So I know that, not a good Filipino trait. Sometimes it's avoidance. You want to avoid difficult conversations. But what I want to say, it's important to be able to just reflect and tell the reflect, paraphrase, and even and just check your perceptions about things and check whether what that person is saying is the same as like facial expression. If it's not, then maybe call it out and ask them about it. And ask them gently naman. Don't say, oh, ba't ka ganyan? Why do you look like that? So you can say, oh, I noticed, I like using the word notice. So I noticed that, you're saying that you're okay, but it's like your facial expression is saying something different. Would you like to tell me more about that? And that's already like a coaching conversation already, because maybe there's something that that person is not even noticing, that there's a discrepancy going on there. Okay, so again, highlighting on active listening, it's a lot about putting a lot of your thoughts about yourself aside and letting go of your agenda and focusing on what is really important for the person that you're talking to, and really giving your undivided attention to the person who is in front of you. Um,
Charlene,
yeah.
Miss Charlene, how about you? Do you consider yourself as a good listener?
I have to of my because of my profession. Same goes with Coach Anda. What she said. No, for you to be an effective coach and for me to be an effective psychologist, I need to properly be attentive to my clients. No, and not only just let's say sabihin natin na para bang on a surface level, para bang na-mention kanina ni Coach Anda na pagod ako sa work, busy ako or something like that. So you need to dig deep, no? So I'm actually learning a lot to Coach Anda, and I was really thankful dun sa mga tips niya, no? So it's additional learning for me.
That's good. Yeah. And I'm glad that you're also trying to practice that in with your professionals, Shirley, because you're also coaching others. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, it's it's important also to go into from active listening. If you listen really well, and I say when you listen to someone, dapat curious ka. Um, if you want to move from being judgmental, go to being curious. Right? Just curious. Curious when you're curious kasi there's no malice, there's no bad intention, there's no anger, resentment. You're just curious. You're just wondering. So if you're curious about the person and the person's situation, you can ask powerful questions and powerful questions. I'm just flashing this here. You don't have to memorize this. The powerful questions will come from as you listen to people. So if you listen to people, you can ask them questions like, "Oh, so what's stopping you? Or what support do you need there? Oh, or what is helping you right now?" So as you listen to the story, you don't have to think ahead, because a lot of times people think ahead of the questions. So when I also do mentoring for coaches. So when I do the mentoring, a lot of coaches are also going ahead of themselves, or are thinking about ano yung next question, ano yung next question. So don't think of the next question. Stay with the person that you're talking to and try to see where are they now, what's going on. And from there, you can ask your curious question. So everyone has this list of curious questions. And the way to make it come out is through active listening. So you can see they're very simple. How do you feel about it? What does success look like for you? What are you realizing about yourself? What's the cost? What's the benefit? How can you do it differently? So it's very, very simple questions.
Ayan. I have here a comment from Miss Virginia. Ayan.
What
Can
did
you read
Virginia
this?
say?
Yep. Ayan. Regarding reflection, Chris Voss mirroring. And what are your thoughts on this, Cha, Cha and Coach Anda?
Yes, it's a very powerful tool as well, because when you mirror the person, it's like you're same as what Coach Anda mentioned earlier, that you're acknowledging, you're hearing the person, you're understanding the person. It's not just, you listen to rebuttal, but you listen to understand. So mirroring is the same. Like, it's also in my profession, pag nalulungkot yung client, syempre hindi ka maiiyak para sa kanya, no? Yung parang you will also, yung kagaya sinabi kanina ni Coach Anda, is yung facial expression mo rin. It's like you're empathizing with the client. So, but the thing is, syempre hindi ka makikijuwit sa kanya, no? So, you'll still gonna stand, no, with as a coach or as a psychologist. But mirroring is a very powerful tool po.
Yeah, it is. It's very powerful. And the word itself, mirroring. And Virginia, I love Chris Voss. Chris Voss is, I think, worked with the CIA for a long time, and he had actually a master class, which I watched also. And he has a popular book as well. I can't remember the title, but yeah, he uses these coaching techniques actually in negotiation strategies. Diba? With a hostage, you can actually use it. See, you can use coaching in so many ways. And so mirroring is important because it's like seeing your own reflection. And sometimes we can't see our own reflection. And when we hear someone saying back what we feel or what we're going through, and then we're able to really piece things together. Because it's important as a person to be able to verbalize what you say. So as a coach, as a leader, as coach, it's important to be able to help people verbalize what they say and help them see what they're saying. And when they're able to see what they're saying, they're able to put everything together. Thank you for that, Virginia.
Nice.
Yeah. So the coaching process, it's a very simple process. Maybe some of you have already heard of it. But before of that, I want to give a quote from John Maxwell. He says that life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it. What do you think of that line, Joe Mark?
Life is 90%. So I think this relates to what I normally say to our students with regards to your environment. Because I typically say na kung sino ka is a sort of a summary ng environment mo. And I think yan din yung sa sinasabi na 90% na kung paano mo iper-perceive yung mga bagay,
Mm,
'di ba? And
mm,
it all boils down to your mind. So,
mm. Yeah,
kung
it
gusto
all
mo siyang
boils down to
isipin,
your. Go ahead.
kung paano mo siya tatanggapin and nasa sa atin 'yun eh. I think one of our greatest adversary, kalaban natin is sarili naman natin eh. Kahit ba ibang tao sinasabi sa na wala ganito ka, ganito ganyan. Nasa iyo pa rin yung desisyon. If you're
Mm.
going to believe him, if you're going to be affected, if you're going to be mad, if you're going to be happy. So, yep.
Yeah, agree. And I always tell also my clients that a lot of us think I said the environment controls us. That's wrong. We control the environment, and the way to control the environment is to control our thoughts. I remember there was this Viktor Frankl. He's a best-selling author as well, and he wrote "Man's Search for Meaning," a very popular book. And he said that like his whole family was killed in the concentration camp in Auschwitz in Germany. So, but he said that, they can take away my family, take away my belongings, but they can't take away my mind. They can't take away how I can perceive the situation, or how I can get out of the situation. So it's really the power of his mind that helped him go through the difficulties of the concentration camp, even if, like I said, his whole family um, um, didn't survive. So it was able to give him hope. So it's really changing the way our mind works when it's not helpful for us anymore. And it's being aware of how we're reacting to the environment around us. And that's very powerful. And when we're able to recognize that, we're able to recognize ano yung mga triggers natin, or the things that block the way we're thinking, or affect the way we're thinking. If we're able to really manage our thoughts and filter them, and use the thoughts only that are helpful for us, then we're able to manage the environment around us. And if you can see that, especially in this pandemic, the way to survive this is really through our minds, right? We can't control that the pandemic is there, but we can control how are we going to respond to the pandemic. And one more thing about that, I just wanted to share about a really powerful question. It's a question about, what is your relationship with change? Right? Is change something that you run away from, that you're scared of, that you don't want to deal with, or is change something welcoming to you? You're not afraid to stretch yourself, to sometimes even have a difficult time, or being comfortable with it. So it's really, when I say, what is your relationship with change, it's really how your mind perceives change. So I just want to show you an example there of how powerful the mind can work. And in coaching, what we do is we help either our clients as coaches, or if you're leading a team, or if you're talking to anyone, it's about helping them change perceptions, and just focusing on what's helpful for them. So the coaching process is goal, goal, reality, options, way forward, and the end is closing. So GROW, goal, reality, options, way forward, and closing. So example of that is, let's say the client I gave you earlier, right? So the one who was overwhelmed. So the goal of the session was to ask him, what do you want to focus on today, or what will be most helpful for you today? And then he tells me, okay, so what's going to be helpful for me today is, I'm overwhelmed. There's just so many things happening. I want to be able to focus. And then number 2, reality, is when I started asking him, okay, so maybe tell me about your situation. Give me examples about your situation. So that's when he started saying, like, oh yeah, actually, every day already I feel like I'm stuck, because there's so many things that are given to me and I can't handle them anymore. And I'm answering so many calls, so many emails. I have some projects going on. And then as they talk about the reality, you can also find out, where are they stuck. So the reality kasi shows, as they talk about their stories, you get to see their beliefs, their thoughts about it, and what actually got them to the outcome to be that way. So, and then when they start realizing that, then you can give them options. So let's say my client realized that as I asked him powerful questions and did active listening, he said that, I realized that it's me. I'm the one choosing to answer all those emails. In that 1 hour, I'll answer all my calls, so that I'm not able to focus on the project. And what I really need to do is to say no to the people that that's not helpful for me at this hour, to just focus on what I really need to focus on in this hour. So those are the options that he was going for. And then the last part, second to last part is the way forward. So what should we do differently next time? And so he was saying, next time, I think I should first stop myself, I acknowledge that I'm overwhelmed, stop and pause and think about, what are my options? What are my different options today? And how can I do things better that's going to help me? And so he said he was going to start thinking about every person that comes to him. He has to have a filter. Is this person important? Do I really need to talk to this person? Is it going to have a big impact on the business if I don't talk to this person? So he came up with filtering questions, and that was his way forward, his solution. Thus, closing is just saying, okay, just to summarize, what did you learn today, and what can you do differently next time, and what are the measures that we can that will show that will be able to be that we're able to see that the changes are really happening. So the closing is so important. Some people just like to talk about, oh, it's so nice and all that. We realize that that's not where change happens. Change happens when you're able to measure and intentionally practice the changes that you committed. So in the closing, it's a question of how are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? How do we quantify that? Okay, so that's important. There. So just to sum it up, this is really what it goes. I came up with this diagram to help you see that there's an aha moment between reality and options. Aha is, I didn't realize that. That's a light bulb moment. That's where I'm stuck pala. And with my client earlier, oh, I'm stuck because I'm a perfectionist. I'm stuck because of my beliefs and responsibility. That's where I'm stuck. So that's the aha moment between reality and options. So before you move into options, you have to be able to achieve that aha moment before going to options. And that's the difference between mentoring. And mentoring kasi you're already telling the person, okay, this is what we need to do, this is the solution, and let's go do it. So that's not as powerful as that person realizing on his own, his or her own, this is what happened, this is why I'm stuck, I understand now why I'm doing this. So there's more accountability as they admit to you what's going on. And then, and so after the aha moment, everything follows after that. Now they're ready to think of the options. Now they're ready to move forward. But without that aha moment, if you don't see it, then you have to ask more questions to help them recognize it. So, Sir Charlene, I wanted to ask you about those aha moments.
Aha moments for
Yeah. So I'm sure, with your clients, I'm sure you've had aha moments. What was that like to get to the aha moments?
When their narrative is already changing. It's like, oh nga no, parang I haven't really thought about that. And most of the time, they are, it's the environment, it's what they're feeding their minds as well. And most of my clients are in abusive environment, and then now they're having, let's say, parang aha moments, like, okay, so I need to lessen my interaction with this kind of people because they're toxic people to me. And at the same time, I need to change this kind of thinking pattern, okay? Because it's not serving me anymore. Like what you said, minsan talaga yung upbringing sa atin ng mga parents natin na you have to be perfect, or you will lose some attachment to your parents, or you're not good enough. So now we're pushing ourselves to the edge, to the point of burnout. So those are the aha moments, like, oh nga, no? So I have the choice.
So, so I like what you're saying, Charlene. It's the oo nga no moments. In Tagalog, it's the oo nga no. I didn't realize that. Yun. Yeah, but that's where I was stuck. So if you hear your clients saying that, if you see a light bulb moment in even the expression in their faces, not just clients, but the people that you lead, your team, the team that you lead, or the people that you're talking to, if you see that in them, then they've gone there in that aha moment. Okay, so action accountability. So with action, you need to be able to think of SMART goals. So in business, we always talk about this in organizations, SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So the goal has to be easy enough and compelling enough for you to want to do it. Because the reason why sometimes people don't do their goals, it sounds so big, it's hard, it's not relevant to me. So it has to be relevant to you, the goal, the action step. It has to be important to you. It has to be specific. It has to be clear. It has to be something that's easy for you to remember. It has to be something that you want to do. It has to be compelling. So SMART goals really are things that we want to do at the end of a coaching conversation. Because after realizing all of that, so now what do we need to do? So we try to use this as a guide. So example of a SMART goal could be that last client that I was sharing with you. His SMART goal is I'm going to, every time this happens. So every time, every day that happens, I'm going to tell myself, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to assess each and every person that comes my way, right? And maybe a way to check himself is at the end of the day, I check with myself is if I was I able to do that today? Was I able to really intentionally practice that? Or maybe tomorrow I can do better. So the change really, a tip for you in change is that you have to be intentional about it before you do the act. And then after the act, there has to be a review. I think what happens, kasi, is the before and a half after doesn't happen. What happens is we just do it as it comes. It can't be that way. You have to be intentional before to be able to change behavior. You have to be intentional before, and then even after you do the action, and ask yourself, how can I do it differently? How can I do it better? And how did I do it better this time? So that deep reflection is the one that's going to really help you change. Okay, so I want to introduce to you the Wheel of Change by Marshall Goldsmith. He's one of the top 10 coaches of the world, and I'm also certified with him as well. So he came up with a Wheel of Change in this book, Triggers, and it talks about creating, eliminating, accepting, and preserving. And I just wanted to flash this slide to you to ask, maybe if you're coaching someone, to ask them in the process of change, what do you think you need to eliminate in your life? So let's say your goal is I want to have a more balanced life. Example, I want to have less stress. So therefore, what do you need to eliminate from your life to have less stress? So the goal of wanting to have less stress is the creating part, your goal. The eliminating is what you want to remove. So I want to take out, maybe I should stop procrastinating, maybe I should stop booking meetings one after the other. Maybe I should have time to rest, to plan, to give myself a day, to just focus on myself, right? Not my clients. So that's eliminating. So you list it down. And then what do I need to accept? So there are things in your life that, you can't change, you can't do anything about. So that's a question. So in that goal of my well-being, of not being stressed, maybe I just need to accept that, example, that the pandemic is kind of here to stay for a while. And that I need to accept also that there's going to be a hybrid work situation where we have work from home, work from the office. So I just need to accept that. So the more you accept that, of the truth and the facts of reality, the more you can find creative solutions. And the last is preserving. What are the things that I need to continue doing that's helping me? So maybe I need to continue being mindful of my schedule. I need to continue maybe having a positive mindset. So preserving are the things that are working for you that you could need to continue doing. Okay, so I just want to give an example of different situations where you can use coaching. So you can use coaching with career coaching, where let's say you have a direct report, or you have someone in your team and you want to help them find a career. So you can ask them questions like, where are you now? Where are you headed? What is if you want to create an impact, what kind of impact that you want? What are the things that excite you? So asking them powerful questions like that, and going through a coaching conversation using the model or the process that I showed you earlier. Performance reviews. So performance reviews are not just telling, but you can even make it a coaching conversation where you're focusing on them. So I want to say pala that coaching is more of like maybe 10% of the time you're speaking, 10% or 20% of the time you're speaking, 80% your client is the one talking. If you feel like you're doing the work, that's not a coaching conversation. So it has to feel like they're the ones processing, you're not the one processing, but they're the ones reflecting, because that's the true power of coaching, when you're able to empower them to do that. So in performance reviews, maybe a new way you can do it is to ask them, so how do you think you did? Or what do you think you can do differently next time? Or how did you do things well? And maybe another question you can ask in performance review is, where do you think you're stuck? What are your developmental areas? So instead of you saying this is your developmental areas, this is where you're stuck, these are your strengths, you're putting it more on the person that you're talking to. Another one is difficult conversation. So if you're having a difficult conversation with someone, maybe more of like try to focus on what does this person need and what is this person's story. And we start focusing on that. You start removing the hate, the irritation, the anger, and you start focusing more on understanding that person. So maybe in the difficult conversation, if you're having a difficult person with someone, you can say something like, "Oh, I just want to clarify where you're coming from," or and you can even ask questions like, "How is this important for you?" And maybe even saying like, "How can we how can we better work together on this? How can I help you here?" So you see, it becomes a more collaborative conversation when you do that. In meetings, also you can use that. You can use a coaching conversation as well. Building relationships with people. So, like I said, not just at the office, but at home as well. Um, really more of like giving that person a chance to really speak, say their mind. As they speak and say their mind, ask them certain questions. I just want to say a very interesting story. I was at I think it's a few years back, right? I was at the bank, and then the branch head was just there, and I was, in line for the bank, just taking a while. And I was talking to her. She was just talking, and I want to show you the power of a coaching conversation. And as we were talking, I was just asking questions here and there, and these were powerful questions. These were not just questions. These were just really insightful questions that I was asking her to help her reflect on what she was talking about. And you know what happened? I don't even know her, but later on she started crying, and at the end she was hugging me already and thanking me for how much I've helped her. And that was just like a 15-minute conversation. So see, find opportunities to coach people. It could be someone that you don't even know, someone you met, someone you're close to. It could be just anyone. So that's why the power of coaching conversations is finding the opportunities to help others gain insight, to help others see things that they don't see. Help them see where they're stuck also. So by asking all these powerful questions. And then closing sales. I've used this a lot when I close sales. Of course, coaching is a business, but when I talk to people, coaching conversations could be like, what's important for the organization? Or how can I help the organization? Where are the challenges of the organization? So it's not you selling your service and saying, this is what I can do. This is my list of services, but it's a more of a coaching conversation focused on them. How can I help you? And so maybe if you're in school and you're going to go for interviews later on to find a job also, or maybe you're working, you're finding job interviews, that can also be used in job interviews. You can also turn it around and say, find out more about the challenges of the organization. And maybe you can even ask them, what are you looking for? What kind of a candidate are you looking for? What would be most valuable for the organization? So see, using those powerful questions can already transform the kind of conversations that you're having. And so the last thing I want to say is from Ken Blanchard. He said that servant leadership is all about making the goals clear and rolling your sleeves up and doing what it takes and doing whatever it takes to help people win. In that situation, they don't work for you, you work for them. So, and that's what being a true leader is about, right? So it's not about you doing things for yourself all the time. It's about you helping others. It's about you caring for the people that you work with, whether you're a student, whether you're working already, whether you're a leader also, whether you're just a teammate. It's good to think about self-leadership and how important it is to be able to care for another and to help people just be better and to be better individuals. So that's a message I want to leave you with. Thank you for listening to my talk today, and I hope it helped you, and I hope that you're also going to be able to use this, not just like I said, at work, at school, with the people everyone that you're talking to, and you can see how that changes things, that how it's going to deepen the relationships that we have with others. So if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me through LinkedIn. That's Anda Goseco. And then you can also connect with me through Facebook. That's Coach Anda. And then what you can do also is I have a YouTube account also. That's Coach Anda Goseco, where I post some videos, and I have a really interesting series now, Leading Great Workplaces, which focuses on interviewing thought leaders globally, so around the world, and really trying to find out what it takes to lead a great workplace. So I hope that you check out that YouTube channel as well, my Coach Anda Goseco, and that whole series on leading great workplaces. And the last thing is that Jomar, I hope you can post it also in the chat. I've sent you like a copy of it in LinkedIn. So posting also the date of the workshop. So I have a workshop happening at the end of the month. It's a 2-day workshop, really deepening these concepts on coaching. So if you want to learn more about coaching, you want to be better in the skills, you want to learn more of my tools. So like I said, this is just an overview of the so many things you can learn about how coaching can be so powerful. And I also have an ebook that you can download as well, where I give you a list of powerful questions and the different roles of a leader. And using those roles, what are the powerful questions that you can ask to be able to use those roles really well with the people that you lead. All right. So that's it.
Amazing. Yes. What I've learned, Coach Anda, is be the light that the world needs right now. Right? Be the hope, be the healing that the world needs right now. Thank you very much, Coach Anda. I was really inspired by your short presentation, but very powerful po. But can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Wag ako talaga unang
Of
tatanong,
course,
no?
you're required to.
I record mo. Kasi coach, most people doesn't believe, no? Parang I need a coach or I need a psychologist, kahit na nahihirapan na sila. So, what can you advise or tell to those people na para bang it's just a waste of money, mag-Shopee na lang ako o maglalasada na lang ako, rather than investing on themselves, coach?
Well, the Lazada and Shopee, it's a fleeting thing. So it's like if you buy a new car, if you buy a new watch or something, it's just gonna stay a while. But if you invest in yourself, that's gonna last forever. So I think it's important to just build on what's important for you, who you are as a person. Think about like yeah, it's important to even think about now like what workshops can I attend that's going to help me become a better person. Um, Maybe even getting a coach to help you and to help you process things and to help you become the person that you want to be or who you need to be. So self-investment, I'm a high believer in that because that's something that of course, yeah, I was going to say money that money can't buy, but of course you have to buy it with money. But it's something that's really long lasting. It's really because it's focused on your own personal growth, and that's going to really get you excited. That's going to get you happy, and it's going to give you joy.
I totally agree, coach. Thank you. Thank you for that message. So, do we have questions, Sir Joe Mark?
Ayan. Miss
For
Chia,
Coach
kindly
Anne.
read for us na lang
Okay.
from Sir
Sige, so
Bernie.
ito from Sir Bernie. Okay, so Coach, Sir Bernie Floresca has a question. What are your best tips for accepting, acknowledging any situation the quickest? So one could move forward quicker. Mabilis daw na how to accept and to acknowledge situations.
Muted ka ata, coach.
Ah, Sorry. Okay, yeah. Okay, so first is to acknowledge first where you are. And so if where you are, I'd like to talk about the Wheel of Change, and maybe Charlene is familiar with this. The Wheel of Change of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. So the Kubler-Ross diagram. So if can't flash it right now, but you can Google it. So it shows you the whole Wheel of Change from when a change happens, maybe you deny it, you fight, you're angry at it, and it moves to acceptance. So it's many stages, and it's important to acknowledge where you are. So the faster you are to be able to just acknowledge, okay, I feel this way about the situation, and to really think about what are the things that I can and cannot control about the situation. And maybe even list it down, because sometimes if it's in your head, I can control this, I can't control this, a lot in your head, write it down, make that list of I can and cannot control. And then you'll be more accepting with the things that you cannot control. And the things that you can control, maybe that's what you need to focus on. And another thing, another tip that I can give you is to think about the benefits of moving forward. So, okay, so maybe there's not some, not there are things that are not good about the situation, but maybe there's also good things about it. So really thinking through what are the benefits and what are the value, what's a value to you if you start moving and start changing. And one thing, one question that I'd like to share with you is maybe a question that you can ask yourself is what's one step I can do to help me move forward. So sometimes because it sounds like there's many steps. So it's important to be able to think about to break it down and make it easier for you and ask about what's that one step I can do to help me.
Yes, powerful question. Guys, sabi ni Coach Ray, powerful question. Yes, and I would also add kay Bernie, no? So in terms of on my profession, tama po yun, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. So it's 5 stages: denial, anger, bargaining, and then depression, and then acceptance. So, but always working towards acceptance. But I would also like to add on that, it's to accept your emotions as well. If you're angry, no, if you're frustrated, natatakot ka, so accept those emotions. Like kasi hindi tayo kalimitan, no? Hindi tayo tinuruan nung mga bata tayo na to be open with our emotions and how to handle our emotions properly. So
Yeah.
when it comes to emotions, just accept it, let it flow, but don't act on it. No,
Yeah.
and
I yeah.
yes,
Go ahead.
yes po. And
Yeah, go ahead.
and instead of, let's say, acting on it, think on the solution. No? Moving forward, gaya ni sinabi kanina ni Coach Anda, what can you do about the situation? But never acknowledge your emotions. Kasi doon po nang gagaling yung mga hindi natin maintindihan na mga bagay. Kasi we're not accepting our emotions. So the language of the heart is different from the language of the mind. So kahit naiinlove ka doon sa tao na yon, but you know that person is bad for you, okay, the head is much more, no, mas mataas kaysa sa heart. But acknowledge that you love the person so that you can move on.
Yeah, and I wanna add also, you have to be able to acknowledge and name the emotion. So what is it you feel? Do I feel frustrated? Do I feel angry? Do I feel mad? So the more you admit that and the more you're facing the truth about that, then you're able to move on. Because a lot of times we're geared to just fix things all the time. I want to fix it. I want to move on. I don't want to think about that. What I'm feeling. So you have to face that first. What is really going on in my situation with the facts, with the emotions, with what I'm feeling in my body, everything. So what I'm thinking of. So process putting that all together. Even if it feels uncomfortable, stay with it. And it's not gonna be there forever. So just stay with it for a while and process it. And yeah, the first step is really acknowledging your emotions. I hope that helped, Bernie.
Ayan. We have a question from YouTube, Coach Anda. Any bad experiences po sa pagko-coach nyo before, and what did you do to fix that situation? Mga memorable ata to, no? Mga memorable experience nyo.
Well, for me, there are. I just want to say that there are people who are coachable, but there are a group of people, small group, that is uncoachable. Maybe this time they're not ready. They're not ready to change. They're not ready. Even if they see that they need to change, they're not ready. And I just want to say, in organizations where I'm able to identify people who are not coachable, meaning they're not doing the action steps, they're not committed, then I tell the organization also as well. So so interesting story on that. I've met like maybe a few people who seemed uncoachable who were my clients, but I was able to transform them into people who are coachable. So most interesting one was like a guy who was very political in the organization. So I could tell that he wasn't telling me the truth about what was going on. He wasn't honest with me. So I was really having a hard time with that. And I was about to drop him as a client. And I told him, I said, like, I feel like you're not committed. You're not focused on our sessions. And so if that's the case, then I think it's not going to be helpful for you. It's not going to be helpful for me. And then I think that he got scared. And so he said, no, let's continue because I see the value of these conversations. And that's when he started becoming honest and open with me. Excuse me. Yeah.
Ayan. Coach Anda, any tips on coaching our own kids or your kids? Coaching kids.
It's the
Relate
same.
natin sa mga parents.
Yeah. It's the same as coaching adults, actually. So first is to acknowledge their strengths, because a lot of times we want to change our kids. We have expectations of them. I
Yeah.
want you to be this, but hindi ka ganyan, or sana you were like this. So with my son, it works really well. I think I've won him over that way. So I acknowledge who he is, what his strengths are. I make sure that I verbalize that, and he's able to recognize that. And during times that when there are things that he's not able to um, like there are times a month that he's not following, that they're I mean, kid being a kid, it's also like that. And there, as adults, also you have people in the organization are not following or not aligned with you. So I ask him about it. I ask powerful questions. So I ask him like, what do you think about that? So yeah, like what do you think about? He's 8 years old, by the way. So but I've been using this whole coaching language ever since he was, I think, 4 years old. So he understands it. So I always say, like, what do you feel? Can you name your emotion? And he says, he's used to it. He's not afraid to say, it's like, oh yeah, I feel worried. I was like, what makes you feel worried? I feel worried because blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if you feel worried because of that, um, uh, how can I help you? Or how can you help yourself? What's another way to see it? So I help him also, because in coaching you help open opportunities. You help them see things beyond what they're usually seeing. So there's more openness. I can see, oh, I can do this, possibilities. So the questions are actually all geared to possibilities on what's a better way to do this. How will this help you if you do this? So those are the same questions I ask my son as well. And that really helps him listen to me. And it also helps. And it all starts from him. Because if it goes with me all the time, then I'm not going to be able to really hear what's important for him.
I agree. I agree, Coach.
How many kids ba daw do you have, Coach Anda?
Just one.
One boy.
Yeah, one boy who's right there.
Ayan. Okay, another question. There are people now who would like to be like you, to be a coach then in general. So any tips, Coach Anda, on how to be a coach then?
Well, first you have to really kind of look at certain questions, like, do I like helping people? Am I okay to just listen more than give advice? Do I do I see? Do I like to help? Is my focus on helping people change or helping people become better? So if it's that, then it's all. Then maybe coaching is for you. And I think first you have to recognize, let's say, your past experiences. Were they all connected to how coaching is? Example, before, or are they all focused also on people? So if you like people, how do you want to help people is a question. Because there are many also coaching fields. There's life coaching, there's mental health coaching. There are people like me who focus on leadership coaching, who just focus on top leaders in the organization. There's also career coaching. So many branches. And I think first find out what kind of coach do you want to be. And to find out what kind of coach do you want to be is finding out who are the people I like helping. What are the kind of topics that I like helping? And you'll find something common in all of them. And when you find that thing that's common in all of them, then maybe it's focused on careers, it's focused on helping leaders, it's focused on relationships. And that's going to make you specialize on coaching. But maybe the first thing you can do also is to take a basic program. So if I were to give advice to my former self 11 years ago when I started doing coaching is to first take a for yeah to answer your questions about that is if I like helping people, so the basic questions. And after that, take a basic coaching course. There's a lot of coaching courses connected to ICF, International Coach Federation. So you can go to their website, look for basic coaching courses, and then after that, go to your specialization. So after I took my basic coaching course, I took further courses all connected to leadership. And then I went deeper into human behavior because I really love reading people. I love human behavior. So I took many courses connected to that as well. So yeah, so that's the first part. And try to find out who are the people that you really like helping, and that's what's going to lead you to your specialization. What kind of clients or what kind of coaches do you want to focus on? Coaching, coaches, yeah. No. What kind of clients do you want to focus on?
Yun. Oo. Your thoughts, Miss Cha?
Same goes, same approach dun kay Coach Anda. So you can never be a jack of all trades. Yes, you can help, you have the overview, but mas maganda kung talaga may specialization ka. So for me, I'm focused on abuse and trauma. So I help clients, no, it's particularly women who were victims of abuse, any form, no, all forms. So don, because that's where my heart is.
And of course, uh, if you have ano po, no, if you have questions on how to optimize that career premium or LinkedIn learning in general, feel free to reach out to me, to Miss Cha, and of course to Coach Anda. The sad thing kasi with this career premium, some of our winners, they have no idea what to do with with the premium subscription. So it ended up na nag-expire lang na hindi nila nagamit ng matindi. So, yep. In addition with that, I think you have access to LinkedIn Learning where you get to learn. Parang it's a sort of Netflix, but a Netflix of learnings. Okay, so ayan. So hoping this 3 months will help. Matagal na rin siguro yun, no? 24 hours. And most of the courses naman here are, ano ba, mga 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours lang naman eh. So, again, invest in yourself, di ba? And of course, don't forget, can you share us, Coach Adam, more about this free ebook?
Yeah, so this free ebook is called Leaders Coach: Crucial Questions You Should Ask Your Team That You're Probably Not Asking. So very interesting. When I made this ebook, I thought about the clients that I've helped in terms of like processing themselves and helping their teams as well. So I talk about the 4 roles of a leader and the questions you need to ask for every role. So example is I don't want to give everything away. So if you want to build connection, what are the key questions, 5 key questions you need to ask to be able to bring about connection? So that's important. So just click on the link. I think you're going to be sharing that, John Mark, right? To be able
Yep,
to get the free ebook. Of course, you have to put in your details as well to be able to get the ebook. And I'd love to hear your feedback on what you thought of it and how it's helped you if you download that. So this is really more for also leaders and teams, because it's questions you should be asking your team. All right. So, and also I wanted to say, John Mark, that I have a program happening on June 25 and 26. So that's next month already. I can't believe it's June. It's so fast. So it starts at 8 o'clock and to 10:30 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And then the fee is $210 per person, or in pesos, you can also convert that to about 10,000 per person. That's for 2 days. And then you can message me for further details at info@coachanda.com.
Okay, so yep, all links are posted in the comment section. So feel free to click on those links.
And then
Okay, so
and maybe what to expect in the workshop is there's going to be a lot of time to practice these concepts, because it's important to be able to practice it. And I'm going to give a coaching demo as well, and other higher level tips on how to develop a really great coaching conversation.
Ayan. Also, links pasted down below. Don't forget to, tama ba, Coach Anda? Is this your YouTube page?
Yes, it's my YouTube page.
Ayan. So, yep. Siguro our ways and means of saying thank you na lang din, no, is by subscribing. So,
Sorry, that's my yeah.
ayan. So,
So
pare-pareho lang tayo, Coach Anda, no? I have a 7-year-old. So, what I typically do, sinasama ko na lang talaga siya sa live stream para,
the live stream. So
ayan.
yeah. So I would be great if you can subscribe because my it's a passion project of mine, that project on leading great workplaces, and I hope that the tips of the leaders I've been interviewing will help you, leaders, consultants, and other coaches will help um, really help you think about how to create a great workplace. Interesting, yeah, because I've been talking to bestsellers, and they're a mixing of Americans, and it's been I've only launched it actually in April. And so, yeah, I've been learning a lot from them as well. And then this June, we're going to be introducing some Filipinos also who have made their mark and who are going to be sharing also tips on how to create a great workplace.
Ayan. So, I have a question here. Ano daw po yung, if you were to name your uh, top 3 idols in coaching, who are they daw?
Oh, that would be Marsha Reynolds. So she wrote a book, Coach, I can't remember the names, but something about Coach the Person. And she's really, really, I mean, I believe in authenticity. So if you see her, if you follow her on LinkedIn, you learn so much from her. But she's very real, very simple, very straightforward. So I pick her. Maybe the second one would be Marshall Goldsmith because of his, like I said, I'm certified with him. And he really has so many gold nuggets. If you follow him also on LinkedIn, he shares videos, interviews people. So you learn a lot from him as well. The third one is really not a coach, but maybe she's someone I draw inspiration from, Brene Brown. So I like her because she talks about authenticity again and vulnerability. So those are really the values that I work with as a coach. I want to be as real as I can get, and she teaches that. So she came up with a very popular, I think, a TEDx talk that got her so many millions of followers. She's written also best-selling books. So she'd be a great person to follow as well.
Ayan. Eto may isa pang tanong, there's another question. Aside daw from the difference in the spelling, what's the difference between a coach and a mentor? Or spelling lang ba or different aspects din? Coach and mentor, Coach Ada, what's the difference daw?
The difference between the two?
Oh, aside from
Yeah.
the spelling.
Yeah. Well, mentor is really like a teacher. If I were going to compare mentoring, it's like a teacher telling a person what to do. Let's say I'm good in engineering, right? So I teach someone engineering, or I'm good in marketing. I teach someone marketing. So the skills of marketing. But coaching is more of not telling, but listening and facilitating and asking questions. That's why in mentoring, maybe 90% of the time you're the one talking, the other part is the other person's listening. But in in coaching, it's the other way around. So you're the one who's listening more, and the other person is talking.
Oo nga 'no. So, tama dapat I learned this late na din, the importance of having a coach. So, I guess one of those benefits is 'di ba, it helps you prevent yung mga mistakes na naranasan nila. So, yeah, definitely coach pala is the word. And the young ones ano yan, hindi nila masyadong ano yan, nare-realize. So, like me, pagtanda mo na saka mo na ano yung coach kahalagahan ng having a coach.
Actually, actually, if we had time, I was gonna show a coaching demo, but I don't think we have time, right? Yeah. Because you could see
Yeah.
also that the power of it is very simple. It's a very simple process, a conversation lang. But you can see that in such a short time, you can already transform people. Like I said, it could be a 15-minute conversation and you're already transforming someone. 30 minutes. Actually, try to stick to a 30-minute conversation, very impactful, straightforward, and that already transforms someone already. Yeah.
Ayan. So again guys, coach is not for ano lang din no, for sports kasi we hear a lot about coach Chot Reyes, 'di ba? Sports again guys, iba din yung coach ng coach in life, 'di ba?
Yeah, actually, si Coach Shot Reyes, he transitioned to being a real coach. The kind of coaching that I do. So, nag-coach rin siya sa
Mm.
mga leaders, yeah, right now. And he's also certified in the same, like Marshall Goldsmith also, like me. Yeah. So, nag-transition rin siya from a basketball coach. I think he still teaches, but I don't know if he does that now. Maybe not in the pandemic. But he also does, executive coaching like me.
Ayan. Your thoughts, Miss Cha?
For me, you should. It's either a coach or psychologist. If you want your mind, no, to be at the optimal level. If you want your life to be in full capacity, yung parang bang quality of life, no. Hire a coach for your mental health, depression, anxiety, whatever that is, trauma. Okay, psychologist, no. So for me, I also went to coach Curly before 2020. She gave me a free coaching with my career because I transitioned from corporate now to a psychologist. So she helped me decipher what's yung parang bang how to, no? Kasi you can never operate in your own mind. No, a surgeon can never operate on his own body, so was in your own mind. So you need someone, no, a sounding board. Okay? Same goes with psychologists. I also consulted with my mentor and some of my peers. When I have this kind of problem, no, so could you please help me clarify or process my thoughts? No, something like that. We all need coach, psychologist, no, and someone that who will really listen to us.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, Charlene, also because like you as well. I've been coached by several people also, and I have mentor coaching. I have coaching also with others, and it's nice. It's nice to be able to do that because there are things I said that so many things going on. It's hard to sort. It's hard to focus which one, but talaga is important. Where is it coming from? And like I said, that the ice. You saw the iceberg, right? So the tip of the iceberg, it's just that, but there's just so many things that's happening underneath. So how do you just process all of that, and how do you just really focus on what's truly important to be able to make better decisions in life?
Yes. And we would really listen to you. So,
Yeah,
yung hindi namin sasabihin sa'yo na kaya mo yan, mag-pray ka lang. We're not, of course, faith is important, but the thing is, pag umpisang bugat pa lang, kaya mo yan, mag-pray ka lang.
Yes.
prayer and coaching works.
Yep. Okay, so once more, don't forget to claim your free ebook. Link is in the comment section. Again, as a way of giving thanks to Coach Anda, 'di ba? It doesn't hurt. Please subscribe to her YouTube channel. She's also in Facebook. Okay, don't forget that. And
I just
lastly,
wanna. Sorry, I migrated to another YouTube channel, so it's Coach Anda Goseco. So that's Coach Anda, yeah, then Goseco, Goseco. So there's a more complete, yeah, there's more complete things. So my when people interviewed me, it's the videos I post on LinkedIn. It's the interviews that I've had with others, or I've interviewed others also as well. So it's all there. So it's Coach Anda Goseco, Goseco.
ayan. So I'm going to paste the link now. Okay, and yeah, don't forget if you have questions, more in-depth questions that were not covered here as usual. Si Coach Anda hindi po 'yan ano no, hindi po 'yan suplada. So
Yeah, I
feel
love
free.
questions. So feel free to send me a message, a question, send me an email if you have a question about coaching or you're stuck somewhere, and I'll be glad to help you.
Okay, so yep. Once more, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. If you have a message or an advocacy to share, like ayan, like Coach and inviting you po no to be our next guest sharer, or if you know someone na who's very passionate in knowledge sharing as well. And alam niyo naman po, no, our mission here is basically to be a blessing, and we hope, and I'm sure you're all inspired and you learned something new. So, yep, hoping to see everyone probably next week for another Lincoln Local Metro South. Okay, Coach Ada, thank you so much.
Your questions, and I enjoyed sharing about coaching. And don't forget the power of coaching, and try to use that every single day in all your interactions with everyone you meet.
Okay. Thank you rin, Miss Charlene, and hoping to see you, both of you again,
Thank
on
you
our
for
next
sa hatak.
live
Sa hatak.
live stream. Okay. So thank you everyone. Have a great evening. And yeah, let's be once more, let's be a blessing to all. Thank you and goodbye.